Hello and welcome. It's my pleasure to introduce you to pre-promotion stocks. Now, what I do is I teach members all about my trading strategy, which, in my opinion, is really one of the top two ways to profit from penny stocks. For your convenience, I've broken this presentation down into four areas, and the goal is not only to help you understand my trading strategy, but to help you understand how penny stocks work in general. First, I'll cover the very basics of penny stocks. This is information that every single one of you should know. I'll go over the top two ways to profit from penny stocks, and I'll review four case studies to show you that these stocks have the same predictable chart pattern again and again. To wrap things up, I'll prove to you that if you're not trading pre-promotion stocks, either with me or on your own, you're leaving thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars on the table. So let's start at the very beginning and let me teach you exactly why penny stocks move. It's simple supply and demand, really. The demand is mostly attributed to stock promotion campaigns. When penny stock newsletters advertise or pump a certain penny stock, there's usually going to be some buyers. When the biggest penny stock newsletters start advertising a stock, there's almost always going to be a surge in buying. That, coupled with a tightly held float, causes the price per share to go up. Eventually, when the stock promoters and insiders finish selling all their stock, they're going to turn off the faucet on the stock promotion campaign. There's no reason for insiders to pay promoters anymore since they're all out of stock. With no more stock promoters pushing the stock, there's no more buyers. And when the stock begins to drop, everybody rushes for the exit. The overhyped stock that used to be inflated will always come crashing back down to earth. An easier way to understand this very predictable chart pattern is to break it all down into three phases in what I call the anatomy of a stock promotion. The first phase is the pre-promotion phase, which usually starts when insiders, friends, and family of an upcoming stock promotion begin accumulating shares. Most often, you'll notice unusual volume and a slow increase in price per share during this phase. Next is the pump phase, which kicks off with penny stock newsletters getting paid to pump the stock. What few people realize is that insiders are actively selling stock during the pump phase, even when the stock price is moving up. Now, once the insiders have dumped most of their paper into the market, they stop paying for stock promoters and the music stops. This is the same chart pattern that takes place time and time again with stock promotions and most penny stocks in general. And in my opinion, there's really only two ways to consistently profit from this pattern. The first way to profit is to buy very early in the first phase, the pre-promotion phase. And of course, this is what I teach. The idea is to profit from the artificial demand that's created during the pump phase when penny stock newsletters start blasting out emails. Essentially, you're aiming to be among the very first to buy the stock while it's still relatively unknown, and then turn around and sell once it really goes mainstream and people are all over Twitter saying how it's the next big thing. The second way to profit from this predictable chart pattern is to short the stock towards the end of the pump phase, and essentially you're placing a bet that the stock's going to fall a lot lower. This is exactly what Tim Sykes does, and what most people fail to do is profit both on the way up with pre-promotion stocks and on the way down with Tim's short-selling penny stocks strategy. Now let's go through a couple examples. Jammin, which was one of the biggest stock promotions in 2011, was first spotted and put on my watch list on February 14th, which was well before most retail traders learned about it. After I spotted Jammin's unusual volume in mid-February, I did a bunch of research, like I always do, to figure out who the players are, and I noticed that big-time Vancouver promoter Shane Whittle was involved. I called Jammin a quote-unquote very solid pre-promotion to speculate on. And then 87 days later, it went north of $5 a share for a gain of 590% from when I first started talking about it. And of course, it wasn't very long before Jammin fell back down to earth. NYXO, which was a really big win for pre-promotion members, was first added to my watch list on June 15th at 40 cents. I called it an excellent candidate for upcoming stock promotion, mainly because the company's president was involved in a number of past stock promotions. And lo and behold, it got pumped by a bunch of newsletters. And 98 days after I started talking about NYXO, it hit a high of $1.13 for a cool 183% gain. Now sometimes, unlike the traditional pre-promotion, where I'm buying before the pump, I'll actually buy immediately when the stock promotion campaign begins. But I'll only do this if it's a really, really big group promoting the stock, like a penny pick or an awesome penny. And I'll only buy if I can get shares before they run up 100% or more, because they move really fast. MILV is a great example of this kind of trade. Now, one full trading day before the first email sent by Awesome Penny Stocks, I urged members to, quote-unquote, be ready to act in case one of the big guys started promoting it. And I booked profits over 14 grand because I was fully prepared that morning. I had my order ready to go from pre-market, simply clicked the buy button as soon as emails started to hit my inbox. Abbott, same thing. I actually spotted Abbott and added it to my watch list 17 days before Pennypick's first email. And believe it or not, an hour before the opening bell on Pennypick's launch day, I sent members a heads-up email titled Abbott Pennypick ? And I urged members to be ready. Now, I was certainly ready that morning. I hope members were too, because once Pennypick delivered their first Abbott pump email, I bought right away, netted nearly 40 grand overnight. Now by now, I really hope you see how powerful this trading strategy can be if you know what you're doing. In 2011, I was either first or among the very first to spot just about all the year's biggest stock promotion campaigns. But unlike everybody on Twitter who's always taking credit for being the first one to see the trade, I actually roll up my sleeves and do all the hard work. Reading SEC filings, doing background checks, putting all the pieces of the puzzle together so members and I can make informed trading decisions. Like KNKT, members and I were buying as low as 80 to 90 cents a share because I had a really high degree of confidence that it was about to get pumped. LEXG, believe it or not, we were buying as low as $1.05, and of course that went north of $10 per share. I already went over Jammin and how I called it a very solid pre-promotion to speculate on. And there's so many case studies I can go through, each having the same exact chart pattern. And during 2011, I was able to build up my account from under 10 grand to over 134 grand. So this is all verified proof that this trading strategy works if you put in the time to learn it. So far, member reviews are off the chart, overwhelmingly positive, and if you want to see what members are saying, I recommend you check us out on Investimonials. Things like good service, easy to understand data, the best source of promotion information, really helps you cut through all the clutter out there. Personally, I like this review because it sums up a lot of what I do. I spot the top pre-promotion setups, dig up all the dirt so we know all the players involved, and then ignore everything else going on. So that's it. In my opinion, this is a must-have if you want to learn how to trade pre-promotion stocks. For all you traders out there with a smaller account, it's a great way to build up your account balance. It usually only takes one winning trade to pay for months or even years of membership. And best of all, my goal isn't just to spoon-feed trades to you guys. I want to teach you how to do it all by yourself. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to teaching you soon.